Hello, this is Simranpreet Kaur. Today I'm going to represent my report regarding the macroeconomics case analysis. This report has been made by the joint effort of the team, and the team members are Joseph Eskimos, Simranpreet Kaur, Saranjit Singh, and Jessica Singh. Before anything related to the report, I would like to introduce the country which we have chosen as the focus of this report. The team is representing the Philippines as the country of study. So, the Philippines is one of those nations which are established in the Southeast Asia. Now, Southeast Asia is mainly covered by Pacific Ocean. So, the Philippines country is in physical shape of an island and is established or is found in the Pacific Ocean. The area of this country is almost equal to Italy. So, why have we chosen Philippines? Because it is ranked as 34th among the world's largest economies. So, it is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Another interesting thing is that this country is recently industrialized nation. Moreover, before being industrialized, this country was completely agriculture based, but now it is more moving towards the manufacturing, which is a great tendency to increase the economic power of this country. So, what are the economic prospects of the Philippines? The country's economy is steadily expanding. If we consider the last 10 years, the growth is exceptional. The growth rate at the end of 2023 was 5.6%. But in the beginning of 2023, the government of the Philippines said that the growth rate by the end of the year would be 6 or 7%, which is not exactly the same which the result came out. But the result isn't bad because, in comparison with other Southeast Asian countries, it is one of the fastest growing. Now, the Philippines is also predicted to grow significantly in 2024. So, in this table, it is clearly seen that Philippines in 2020 was in minus, but in 2021 it was at 5.7 and Singapore was at highest. But after that, the growth in Philippines was the most appearable one. In 2021, 5.7, 7.6, 5.6. If considered in 2023, 5.6 is highest among all the Southeast Asian countries, which is very rare. So, moving further, what are the factors which are contributing to the overall performance of Philippine country? First, unemployment in the Philippines. There are a lot of people who are unemployed in Philippines. What are the reasons and how is it affecting the economy, which will be discussed later. Then there is gross domestic product, which is directly related to the economy. Inflation rate, if something are expensive, less expensive. Consumer price index, how much people are spending on something, how much people are not spending, and all that. Fiscal framework, monetary policies. I think monetary policies are have the great impact on the economy. Moving further, the first one is unemployment in Philippines. So there are many causes behind this unemployment. It has great impact on the Philippines economy also. Before those causes and the effects, first let's see what is the unemployment rate in Philippines. In the last week of February 2024, the Philippines had a 3.1% unemployment rate, which is great because in previous years in 2021 and 2022 it was 4.35 and 5.4. Of course, 2023 is not mentioned here because the unemployment rate by the end of 2023 and in the beginning of 2024 was almost same. You can see from this chart that if considered in 2022, from January to December, it has continuously been decreasing, and decreasing. In 2023, it kept decreasing more and reached 3.1 by the end of the year and is still same in February 2024, which is 3.1%, and it is lowest for the last two in comparison to last 2 or 3 years. Moving further, what are the reasons behind this unemployment? If it is less, it is more. There are some reasons. The first reason is increasing number of business processing outsourcing companies. There are many companies from Canada, Australia. Some companies are actually based in the Philippines, which are outsourcing the Canadian companies, Australian, and all that, which is reducing the local market. So that's why there is a decline in traditional industries like agriculture and manufacturing. As I mentioned previously, that manufacturing is something towards which the Philippines was growing, which was helping Philippines to grow. But now, due to BPOs, people want to work. People know how to do agriculture. People know how to do manufacturing, but there is no agriculture available or no manufacturing unit available. Industries are closing. So the main industries are the business processing outsourcing. So that's one of the reasons why this is happening. Then another reason that why unemployment is happening is rapid population growth. As I already mentioned, that the size of the Philippines is almost same as the Italy. Just imagine a country which has same size as Italy, has nearly 110 million people, and it is ranked as 13 most populated countries in the world. Moreover, the government is not making proper policies for the labor market. It is very important for a government to be responsible for what is happening for the labor. What are they offering? What is the minimum wage rate so that people are more motivated to work? But the government is not making proper policies for the labor market, which is increasing the unemployment rate. Then, what are the economic impacts of the unemployment? First, the economic growth has hindered because of less consumer spending. Now, people have got less jobs. They want to save money. They want to spend as less as they can. So, consumer spending is reduced, demand is reduced, production is reduced, economic growth is automatically reduced. Due to this, there is a dilemma effect because the government have had to increase its spending to provide unemployment benefits, social welfare programs or job training. Now government want people to work. No government would say that you should sit down and we will give you money. So government is giving welfare programs and job trainings. Government is putting more money, but where is that money came coming from? Because people are not working, they are not paying income tax. Since they are spending less, so the tax which could they give to the government in the form of the products which they are buying, it is also reduced. So government is facing that problem, which can even cause the government to face some debt in the future due to this problem. Now, lesser employment and consumption means lesser tax revenue, which I already mentioned for the government, putting strain on the government. The moving further, what can be done? First, policies should be enacted to help the economy and promote skill development. So, first of all, government should give some policies about companies, industries, that this company or industry should do this so that people could get attracted towards. The most important one is this promote skill development. If agriculture is not working, manufacturing is not working, but people are more into AI, so there can be some skill development programs like training related to softwares, how to handle computers and all that, so that people have more skills and they can actually work with their skills. So there is another need of long term solutions instead of just band-aid solutions. What is government doing? It is giving some small solutions so that minor problem can be solved. But I have to say that when it comes to the Philippines, the government is actually good in this case, because it can be clearly seen from the data that the unemployment rate is decreasing. So people are getting more and more jobs from different methods, from different scales, but they are getting jobs. So I think government is already working on these long term solutions, and it is getting actually giving good results. So next is gross domestic product of the Philippines. Now the Philippines has experienced overall economic growth over the past 3 decades. Since the past 3 decades, it is continuously growing, 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 growing. So the economy has expanded, possibly caused by increased population, more people, more spending, more demand, more production, more economic growth. Moreover, they are newly established business. There are many foreign countries who are investing into this business. So it is also growing the economy of the country. Moreover, There was also some financial crisis in late 1990s, and there was a global financial crisis in 2008. So if considered that time, even in that time, the economy of the Philippines was rebounded easily, and it kept on growing, which was really great for a normal Asian country. So that is something for which Philippines should be considered as one of the best countries in case of economic growth rate. So moving further, what are the key drivers for Philippines economic growth? First, business process outsourcing, which I have already mentioned. Next, tourism. Yeah, Philippines is famous for tourism. Last one is remittances from overseas Filipino workers. So another thing which I would like to mention, that even after the growth of the GDP due to the above reasons, it kept fluctuation. I am saying that there are these three reasons which are increasing the GDP, but is it increasing properly? No, it is going like here, here, here. It keeps on fluctuating. So why is it happening? Reason, the Philippines is on an island which is covered from the water from all sides. There is a volcano also on this island. So first of all, the problem is natural disaster. But before going to natural disaster, the first one is poverty. Like any other developing country, the poverty is one of the problems which the Philippines is facing, which can be easily covered in the upcoming years if the growth rate keep going in the same way. Then there is income inequality, which is normal in even in some developed countries. So it is one of the reasons why GDP keeps fluctuating. Then there is unemployment, which is already mentioned. Then there is underemployment. Next, the last one, which I already mentioned, Philippines is an island. There is a volcano. So there are several natural disasters, and Philippines. It is normal that Philippines is hit by one of them. Typhoons, normal. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. These are the biggest problems which the Philippines is facing at. I know these economic factors are affecting it, but this natural factor is also having a great impact on the economy, because one of the major key drivers of the economy was tourism, and because of these natural disasters, that tourism is getting affected. Because of that tourism is being affected, the economy is not getting enough money, so there is some fluctuation in GDP. So here is the GDP of the Philippines since 1960s. It can be clearly seen that it kept up, down, up, down, up, down. It kept fluctuating. So after all this, since 1960 till now, it is fluctuating. So what about GDP in 2024? There are predictions that it will rise by 6.4% in 2024. So, as I already mentioned, that in 2023, the government said the economic growth or the GDP growth would be 6 to 7%. So, there is now prediction that it will be 6.4% in 2024. Considering the way the growth level, I think it could be very easy for the Philippines to reach that 6.4%. So, what is this 6.4% in 2024 indicating? It is indicating a quicker recovery from the 2023. Why? Because in 2023 they had expected to reach 6 or 7, but stayed at 5.6. But if they reach 6.4 in 2024, so they are going to recover that rate. So, and the likely conclusion of central bank's tightening cycle. Now, what is the tightening cycle of central bank? The central bank of the Philippines is not changing its policies. The government's 2024 projection remains below its current year aim of 6.5 or 7.5%. Yeah, okay. In the prediction, just like in 2023, they have predicted 6 or 7. In 2024, they said that we want to reach 6.5 or 7.5, but from the predicted data, they are going to maximally reach 6.4, which is more than enough, if says, because in comparison to 5.6, 6.4 is great value. Now next is the inflation rate. in Philippines. The annual inflation rate in the Philippines fell to 2.8 in January 2024 from 3.9 in the prior month, means December 2023. Now something highlighting: unemployment rate reduced, GDP is growing, inflation rate is reducing. If we look at all this overall, then the economic growth can be seen properly, because all the bad things are reducing and all the good things are increasing, which is a great thing for a country. So now in January 2024, the inflation rate is 2.8, which is the lowest since October 2020. So in October 2020, it was less than 2.8. I don't remember the exact figure, which we will check in the next slide. So before that, I would like to mention that in January 2024, it is 2.8%. So after 2022, after 2020, the inflation rate kept on increasing or fluctuating but reached the lowest point in January 2024. Of course, it's more than October 2023, but it's lowest than the in between part. So in December 2023, the inflation rate was 3.9% compared to 5.4% in December 2020. Now here is the inflation rate of the country. You can clearly see from 2020 that in October 2023 it was the lowest, after which it kept on increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing. You can see in 2023 it is the highest. So by January 2023 it reached its lowest point after October 2020. Moving further, now here comes the consumer price index. So what are the main critical categories in the consumer price index? These are the, first of all, the food and non-alcoholic beverages, which are 39%. Of course, it's normal for any country to spend most money on the food, but in Philippines the non-alcoholic beverages are very famous, so almost 39% of the consumer price index is covered within the food and non-alcoholic. Then there comes housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, which is 22%. Transportation is only 8%. Apart from these main critical categories, there are some major other categories upon which people are spending money: health, education, clothing, communication, and recreation and culture. So, moving further, here is a consumer index over years. It is from 1958 to 2024. The unit is percentage. It is actual 2.80 right now. Previously, it was 3.9. Highest consumer price index over year was 62.80 and lowest was minus 2.8 during different times between 1958 and 2024. Moving further, here comes the fiscal framework of the Philippines, which is very important. Now, the Philippines unveiled its medium term fiscal framework in 2022. So, what is a fiscal framework? Fiscal is something which is kind of a yearly report for of a country, of a business, or whatever, for an insurance company. Anything can be said, but here we are talking about government, so it is about a country. And now it has unveiled its medium term fiscal framework. Now framework is coming for future. The country Philippines have given a framework for the future, that this are the rules for the upcoming years. The government is spending this much on this thing and this much on this thing, and this much is compulsory to spend on something. This will run from 2022 to 2028. Now, what is this fiscal framework? The name of this fiscal framework, I'm again saying medium term fiscal framework, or MTFF. So, this MTFF is emphasizing the government to debt sustainability and fiscal restraint while providing at least 5% of GDP for infrastructure expenditure each year. Now, it doesn't matter what the government is getting, government have to spend the 5% of the GDP which it is receiving from tax or any other source to spend on the infrastructure expenditure each year, because it is important to grow the country, which is a great thing This is going to enhance the growth level of the economy. Now, it is also intended to reduce poverty and stimulate the creation of jobs while investing in human and physical resources. Now, when it comes to infrastructure expenditure, infrastructure is the whole country's structure level and all that. If you look at there, first of all, how is it going to reduce poverty? Imagine there is a bridge. The government, it is coming under infrastructure expenditure. The government is now going to spend money on making this bridge. For making this bridge, they need a lot of material which will be coming from factories. People will be working on those factories. Now, the manufacturing, which was almost not so good, is now asked by government to make something. Now they are making, they need more people. Those people who were almost unemployed and were poor are now working, they are getting wages. So unemployment is reducing, poverty is reducing. Moreover, now the bridges, the material is here and bridge is being made. So for making the bridge they need people, so they are creating new jobs for that. So and they are investing in humans and physical resources for that. Let's move further. So here is the summary of MTFP for Philippines in percentage of GDP. So in 2020, from 2022 to 2028, which the government has already given that this much should be spent on this thing, this much should be gotten from this thing. So revenue, first there are revenues that 2022, in 2022, this was the revenue, 2023, this will be the revenue. This is just prediction because it was given in 2020. They are just predicting that this would be the revenues, then this would be the disbursements in which the infrastructure program should be given this much money. Now if in 2022 the revenues were 15.2, then they were supposed to spend 5.5%. If it was 15.3, then they were required to spend 5.4, and it kept on changing. When it comes to 2028, the Philippines is thinking that their revenues would be nearly 17.6, and they are supposed to be spending money, nearly 6.3% of money on infrastructure programs. So here is this what is going on. But there is also something great thing done by the people who made this report, that they are also mentioning the national government debt. How much debt would the government will be in that year? So in 2022 it will be 61.8, but it will reduce to nearly 51.1 by 2028, which is really good for the country, to be more detailed and precise. So how can this government achieve this all 2022 to 2028 thing? So first of all, there is need of a moderate reduction in the current expenditure, because the government is supposed to spend a specific amount on the infrastructure. So the current expenditure which the government is spending on some unimportant things, maybe the government is not spending, but there is still need to reduce the more a moderate reduction in the current expenditure as a percentage of GDP. Next is there is need to prioritize the expenditure categories like maintenance and other operating expenses and spending controls. It is very important to spending controls, because when the spending is controlled by some specific government authorities, then the money is not spent on useless things and it is spent on only important things which is going to benefit the economy of the country. Moving further, now comes the monetary policies and interest rates. So for the monetary policies, we need to know about the Central Bank of the Philippines. The name of the Central Bank of the Philippines is the Banco Central NG Filipinas. It has held into its main policy. As I previously mentioned that the Central Bank of the Philippines has never changed its policies. It is following these policies since October 2023 and is planning to continue it without stopping, because this policy is great for the economy growth. And the main policy is at the rate of 6.5%, following an off cycle hike in October 2023. So what is off cycle hike? In October 2023 there was a hike which was a great thing for economy, and the bank thought that if we follow this specific policy which made the economy to reach such a great level, we can get better revenues, better results, and the economy great could be great. There's the Banco Central NG Philippines or BSP. It controls the inflation, which is something really important for any country. It doesn't matter if it is developed, underdeveloped, or developing. So the BSP controls the inflation by changing the primary policy rate. It is not changing the main policy rate, it is changing the primary policy rate, influencing the interest, but it is not changing right now, it is keeping it stable. So it can control the inflation by changing the primary policy rate, influencing the interest rate that bank charge business and consumer. If the interest rate is changed, there will be a great amount of change in the amount of money people are investing in the bank or not investing. So the bank can easily have a great impact on the inflation rate, which is directly related to the economic growth of the country. So thank you so much. This was the end of my representation, and I think when it comes to the whole growth of the country, Philippines is one of those countries who are going to reach. It is right now 34th largest economy. It can easily reach the top 15 in the upcoming decade. Thank you so much.